Today's video is brought to you by Wondershare Filmora. I know many of you want to get into making videos yourself, and Filmora 10 is a new editing program that's enjoyable, it's easy to use, and you can really elevate your production. They have cool features such as keyframing, where you can choose a starting and ending point to animate a scene. There's motion tracking, just look, Inosuke's face is following me. There's also color matching, so you can choose two separate shots and apply the same color correction to both clips with just a single click. There's also so many different elements to choose from. Just look, now I have wings. But for real, this is one of the least intimidating editing programs I've used, and you can get easy access to more advanced features. So I want you all to try this program out for yourselves so you can produce your own great content, and you can share this video and comment down below your experience, and you can win a Filmora 10 free use license. I look forward to see what you guys produce, so make sure to click the link in my description to download Filmora 10 today. Wendell was a panhandler near Tessa's college, always singing opera music. Even though it was clear he was begging for money, she always thought it was admirable, so she gave him $1 each time. She would occasionally strike up conversations with Wendell, and he would blurt out that he almost went to college on a baseball scholarship, but his terrible life choices ruined everything. "Oh, sorry to hear that. I play volleyball, not for a scholarship though," she said. "See you around, okay?" Once, Wendell called her over as she was walking with her advisor. She didn't want to be rude, so she gave him a quick hello and introduced them to each other. Immediately after, the advisor pulled Tessa aside, asking how the panhandler knew her name. She explained their little friendship, but he said you shouldn't forge friendships with the homeless population in the city, or even give them money because they tended to have criminal or addictive histories. She did take a mental note of this, but the very next time she talked to Wendell, he was really irritable and distant. "So your boyfriend, you two live together or what?" Tessa had no idea what he was talking about. "The guy I met from yesterday you were walking with." Tessa explained he wasn't her boyfriend, just her academic advisor. All of a sudden, Wendell wasn't irritable anymore. He was as chatty as he'd ever been. It was around then that Wendell started bringing her gifts every day whenever she passed by. Tessa decided to take it, but her roommate did remark that it was weird. "Come on, it's just a flower, it's alright," she said. Her advisor once again brought it up to her, and he was worried she was being manipulated. So she took their advice and decided to distance herself a little. But very shortly after, classes were all online. About 3 weeks into being back home, Tessa was watching a friend's Instagram story when she heard Wendell singing opera music in the background. "Aw, I forgot all about him. Hope he's doing alright," she thought. But then she noticed the background wasn't near campus, but closer to her hometown. A girl from her college messaged Tessa and said, "This is going to sound really weird, but I feel like I should say something. I was downtown and a beggar asked me about you, like specifically you. He knew you were on club volleyball and your major. I didn't tell him anything, but I thought you should know." Tessa was pretty alarmed at first, but once they talked, she learned her friend was wearing a sweatshirt from their college, so he probably asked around as they both lived in the same town, trying to find out how she was doing. Tessa thanked her, but told her not to worry about it. Besides, she wasn't in town much longer anyways. She had decided to go live near campus again. But that's until Tessa saw Wendell back on the same corner just a week after returning to campus. Okay, even she knew at that time that something was wrong. Tessa stopped giving him money, stopped talking to him, and barely left her apartment. She felt bad about potentially hurting his feelings, but figured he'd get the message. After finals, Tessa decided to visit her brother in a different state. His roommate had moved home, leaving an extra bed, so she drove up to his place to get away from it all. About the 9th day in, she was woken up way earlier than usual to the sound of her brother talking at the door, so she got up to see what was going on. Her brother was talking nicely to someone outside, but when he turned around, he looked really upset at Tessa. He turned back and said, hold on here. Tessa's brother immediately got in her face, saying, Mom and Dad are gonna be so mad at you. She had no idea what he was talking about. Was there cops outside? You're dating a 40-year-old guy? And you invited him to my house while we're supposed to be staying indoors? You two can go to a hotel or something because he isn't coming in here. Wait, what? I don't know why you're getting so mad at me, Tessa responded. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't know what you're talking about. Someone's got the wrong house. No, he didn't just vaguely say he was here for his girlfriend. He used your name. He said you guys had a fight and he was here to work things out. Feeling even more confused, Tessa finally did the obvious thing and looked through the peephole. She almost didn't recognize him at first because he had showered, shaved, and changed into clean clothes, but it was the panhandler. Tessa was so scared she couldn't speak. He followed me here. Her brother still didn't get it. He thought she was actually dating this guy. He went to the door and told him, Hey, I just checked. She's not here anymore. She must have packed out this morning. You should do the same. Wendell just stared at him and said, You're lying. I heard her in there. Tell her I'm sorry. I don't know why she's been avoiding me, but I got cleaned up for her and I'll take her anywhere she wants to go. Tell her that. Tell her, and don't lie. I'll know if you lie. Tessa was watching from the corner, and it sounded like he was walking away. But instead, he was going over to the window, and then she saw him staring. His eyes were bugged out of his head, and he looked like he was just disconnected from reality. He started banging on the windows, shouting, That's my girlfriend, you can't keep her in there! Let her out! Let her out! I'm coming, baby! Tessa was in shock. She was too scared to run or even move. Before her brother could charge out the door, Wendell punched through the window, and his hand was covered with the glass, and there was an eerie moment of silence when nobody moved. Damn it, call 911, he said, while he leaned against the door which Wendell was now repeatedly running into. Tessa called them on the phone, and within 10 minutes, the police arrived and arrested Wendell without resistance. He kept trying to tell them his girlfriend was trapped in the house and he'd come all this way to save her. Tessa's brother was even momentarily handcuffed and had to explain to them that he hadn't taken his sister hostage. As they carted Wendell away for arrest, he started singing opera music. Tessa learned a lot of important common sense and life lessons from this horrible experience. But most of all, Wendell, let's not meet again.